Hi, I'm Ruth Chadwick, and I'm a psychotherapist and life coach located in New York City. And I'm very happy to be a part of this series on the five elements in Chinese medicine and Chinese philosophy. And this week's element, as you know, is metal, which is associated with the organs, the lungs, and the large intestine. And I'm going to talk a bit about the lungs and specifically around the breath, and how that is so helpful for having a clearer mind and for stress relief. So, in these days of COVID 19, many of us have become a lot more aware of our breath and are taking it less for granted. Because, of course, that's what COVID 19 does. It attacks the lungs and it affects people's ability to breathe. So, what a luxury for those of us who can take deep breaths and enjoy the pleasure of just that simple act. And the breath itself has many properties which are truly amazing for calming the body and clearing the mind. So, on the one hand, people from Eastern spiritual traditions have been utilizing meditation and yoga for millennia. And there's a reason that the breath is at the center of these practices. So, for one thing, the breath activates the parasympathetic nervous system. So, if you're in the stress response, for example, if your stress response has been activated and you're having worried thoughts or fearful thoughts, simply taking deep, long breaths can activate the parasympathetic nervous system and start to have a calming, relaxing effect on the body. Now, another thing about it is that it keeps us in the here and now, or it brings us to the here and now for focusing on our breath. Because our mind tends to want to wander to the future and to the past. And of course, the future is where our worries and our fears are. These are fears about what might happen. And in the past, of course, we can ruminate about what we wish we'd done differently, or we can grieve, or we can regret. That's often what we're doing in the past. But the breath anchors us in the present. And the breath is reliable. It's very regular, like the sunrise or the sunset. You take a breath in and you exhale. Inhale, exhale. It's very reliable. It's very grounding. And because of that effect that it has on the nervous system, it's a really amazing way to ground yourself in the here and now. And the thing is that you don't have to sit in formal meditation to take advantage of the gifts of the breath. At any moment, if you start to find your mind wandering or going off into worries or obsessive thoughts, all you have to do is just bring your attention to your breath and start taking gentler, easier, longer, deeper breaths. And just see how that has a very fast effect on clearing the mind, bringing the present and in your current environment into focus, and letting all of those worries just melt away. There's a link to my blog in this newsletter as well. So feel free to check it out and read a bit more about the amazing properties of the breath. And I look forward to checking with you next week with the next week's element. Thanks for listening, and I will see you then.